joining us for the Shreveport City Council meeting. We ask that at this time, if you have your cell phones, you be kind enough to put them on silence or turn them off. And ask that Councilman Butcher would lead us in prayer. And we're going to ask that Councilman Talaferro would lead us in the pledge. Thank you very much. Madam Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Councilman Brooks.
Here.
Councilman Talaferro.
Here, ma'am.
Councilman Butcher.
Here.
Councilman Jackson.
Here.
Councilman Green.
I'm here.
And Councilwoman Bowman.
Present.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of the administrative conference meeting Monday, August 7, 2023, and the city council meeting Tuesday, August 8, 2023?
So moved.
Moved by Councilman Talaferro, second by Councilwoman Taylor. Are there any questions or comments? If not, push the button.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Does any council member have any awards, recognition, or distinguished guests not to exceed 15 minutes? Councilman Jackson.
If I can get the audit team to come to the podium, please. I'm trying to audit you. Can you read that resolution for us?
Resolution 110 of 2023, a resolution congratulating the City of Shreveport Internal Audit Office for winning the 2022 Distinguished Knighton Award from the Association of Local Government Auditors Awards Committee and otherwise providing with respect thereto. Whereas on April 13, 2023, the City of Shreveport Internal Audit Office's report entitled Performance Audit of Public Works and Drainage Sidewalk Operations was awarded the 2022 Distinguished Knighton Award in the medium shop category by the Association of Local Government Auditors, ALGA. And whereas the ALGA was founded in 1985 to serve auditors who specialize in working with local governments. And whereas its members represent about 300 local government audit organizations across the United States and Canada. Whereas, to encourage increasing levels of excellence among local government auditors, the ALGA created the Knighton Award in 1995 to recognize the best performance audit reports produced by local government audit shops in the previous year. And whereas each year local government audit organizations submit their best performance audit report to be evaluated against 4 criteria. And whereas those 4 criteria are: 1, an audit scope that has the potential for significant impact and is responsive to the needs and concerns of decision makers and or the public; 2, audit conclusions that are persuasive, logical, and firmly supported by evidence, which are gathered using appropriate research methods and tools; 3, audit recommendations that are feasible and will make government programs more effective and efficient; and 4, audit results that are communicated clearly and concisely. And whereas judges from peer organizations determined the City of Shreveport's Internal Audit Office's report was among the best of 2022. And whereas the judges commented, overall, quote, overall, we appreciated the clarity of the report and its effective visual presentation, which allowed the reader to easily follow and understand the issues at hand, end quote. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Shreveport in due legal and regular session convened, that the City Council recognizes and congratulates the City of Shreveport Internal Audit Office for this accomplishment and a job well done. Be it further resolved that this resolution shall be executed in duplicate originals, with one original presented to the Internal Audit Office and the other resolution filed in perpetuity in the office of the Clerk of Council for the City of Shreveport.
Start again. To the chairman and to the council members and Councilman Jackson especially, we certainly appreciate you recognizing us for this award. We strive every day to produce high-quality audits, and I have a wonderful team. I want to especially recognize Nadia Dunhams. She was the auditor to complete the report. And so we appreciate and congratulate her for her hard work in accomplishing such a great reward. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
I mean, any councilman have anything to say, but I think this is one of the times that it's fitting for all 7 of us to come down and take a picture. I mean, y'all represent Shreveport, and we've been recognized for something remarkable, something that doesn't happen all the time, and especially with everything going on right now, knowing that our internal auditors is doing a superb job is what the public needs to see. So I definitely want a group picture, but I'll leave the mics open for any other comments.
Well, I'd just like to say congratulations to you all and thank you very much.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
since we were elected, myself and Councilman Green, almost 5 years ago now, you have always been a stable and listening ear and have always provided everything that I've ever needed or anybody else has ever needed. And your whole team is just as professional as they come. And I think that goes back to your leadership. So thank you for everything y'all do, and we look forward to the next 3 years. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, congratulations. Y'all do a remarkable job. Lennis, you've always stepped up to help me since I was new. I appreciate that, but congratulations, Anna.
Thank you.
We join in congratulations. Obviously, you work for the council, and that's the way the people of Shreveport set up the government, which is healthy. And but we thank you, and we appreciate all the good comments that you give us to work on to make us better too. Thank you very much.
I'm going.
Thank you. Is Mr. Hutchison here from Blue Line? No.
Mr. Chairman, we met with him this morning, and everything is in line. They've got 20 of the license plate readers installed and are in line to install all the rest of them.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Does any other council member have any awards, recognition of distinguished guests? Mr. Mayor, do you have any awards, recognition of distinguished guests not to exceed 15 minutes?
I do not, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Mayor, do you have any other communications relative to city business?
No, sir, other than the withdrawal of the appointment of Ms. Ballinger.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Does any member have any concerns for property standards for Mr. Green? Anyone got any? Anyone for Mr. Green? Thank you, Mr. Green. Everyone should have received their revenue collection plan and implementation report on yesterday. Public hearings, none. Madam Clerk, would there be legislation added to the agenda today?
Yes, the administration is requesting Resolution 112 be added to the agenda, a resolution ratifying the mayor's signature on a contract with Ceres Environmental Services for storm debris removal in accordance with Section 26-274D of the Code of Ordinances, and to otherwise provide with respect thereto.
Is there a motion to add resolutions 112 to the agenda? Moved by Councilman Jackson, second by Councilwoman Bowman. Is there anyone to speak for or against this to be added to the agenda? If not, seeing there's none, would you be kind enough to push the button?
Motion passes with 7.
Thank you. Today, we will hear public comments on agenda items only. The vice chair will control the list and the time.
Mr. Chair, I think I have 3 comment slips that may not be agenda items. Is Ms. Frierson here? Ms. Frierson, can you tell me what you want to speak about? Is it on the agenda? No. Okay, well, you won't be able to speak on it today. You'll have to come back in 2 weeks on Monday is when we talk about non-agenda items. Okay. Mr. Phil, y'all, I believe the same thing. You want to talk about sidewalks? Yes, sir. Yes. You would have to come back in 2 weeks as well on a Monday. In 2 weeks on a Monday. 3 weeks. Oh, it's 3 weeks? Okay. We had a date. September 11th. At 3 o'clock. Mr. Richard? Same for me. Yes, sir. Okay.
Mr. Chair, if I may. If these, if the issues from these 3 people here, rather than having to come back, if there's something.
Mr. Richard, hold up just a minute.
If there's something that needs to have our immediate attention, other than if you're just commenting on a specific subject, we'd be happy to entertain you and kind of help you, get to the right department head if it's an immediacy that you need some help with. I don't want to just.
RJ can assist.
Okay. All right. If you may see the gentleman back there in the plaid shirt, he will take care of you. And if there's something else we need to help you out with, be happy to do that.
Mr. Sammy Mears?
Sammy Mears, 1901 Centenary Boulevard, Apartment M110, Shreveport, Louisiana, 71101. I wish to speak today on 9A110. I believe this is a wonderful idea to congratulate the Shreveport Internal Audit Office for winning the 2022 Distinguished Award from the Association of Local Government Awards and the committee. I'm going to ask that you vote yes on this today because I'm sure everybody there who got applauded today, I'm sure they would be very, very happy. And I know that they really would, because it's just like with me, when I donated $180, Grace, and that's what I wanted to mention today, that I gave $180 to the Muscular Dystrophy Association. I feel good about that, and I'm going to continue and planning on doing that too. I know it's not on, but we have a problem over at Oak Meadows Apartments. The owner has not been responsible to pay a water bill for every month, and the tenants there are very upset about this not
Sammy?
being paid.
Sammy, let RJ know that part, since it's not on the agenda, and then he'll let us know, okay? Ms. John Glover?
Good evening. John Glover, 9100 Walker Road, apartment 217, Shreveport 71118. I'm standing here to address Resolution 109A. As I stated on yesterday, it is vitally important that a legislative audit be done. You know, there may be those who don't agree. This is not a personal attack on any of you all. It is just a method whereby we or I, a citizen, can know what's going on in you all's department. Now, as it relates to that, I want to know who told the chair that the funding that he allocated was available. That would be bought out in a legislative audit. Then I want to know the dollar amount, how he knew what dollars may have been available for him to act and to engage what he did, whether it's been rescinded or not. I want to know that. And I also want to know, and it sounds really, really disturbing for me to even say, what are you all trying to hide that no investigation you will support? You know, we don't ask for much, but when we do, or I do, I expect in return to at least have someone to say, yay, nay, this is why not. We've never had this before. Again, this is not an attack. There's no indictment. It is an effort, though, for me to know what and why we are standing here today having to defend a legislative audit not being defended by maybe whomever will choose not to go forward with this audit. Again, it is imperative that this audit be done because we need to know. Thank you.
Ms. Glover, before you take your seat, Jackie White is over our budget. I got the figures from her. She can testify to that. She not only works on the budget for the general budget, but she works on the budget every day. So she gave me the figures. She gave me the amount.
Okay, now see, you just opened up another can of worms because it
I
was
don't,
said. Wait a
I'm
minute.
just, you asked the question, Ms.
Yes.
Glover. You said nobody explained it to you.
Right.
Jackie White is over that.
Okay,
I asked her how much was available. She gave me the figures.
okay. Now, do I get to rebut or maybe I just?
You
need
can
to
say
take a
anything, Ms. Glover, that you
I
like.
won't just say anything, but I do appreciate you sharing that information with me. Again, from the inception, it was that no one knew what you were doing. Thank you.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir.
Ms. Glover, too, I just, for the record, this is not a legislative audit. This would be an investigation by an independent investigator. So it's not an audit. It's just an investigation.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Butcher. Now, why? Why an investigation? How do you?
The council only has the right to authorize investigations. If
Who
you
has
go
the
and
right
read,
to ask for a legislative audit?
that's not in our wheelhouse. We would have to ask for that through either a legislator or an act of the entire council.
Well, also, Councilman Jackson, since he is over the internal audit, he can send a letter asking for a legislative auditor to come. They're not going to come for the city council, they're going to come for the entire city. We had one in the Perkins administration who came. The legislative auditors will come. Councilman Jackson can write the letter, and we can get it to them. And I will okay it with the clerk that he can send that letter, as we have done before, and it's done.
But it's not for the council, it's for the entirety of the city?
This is for, the legislative auditors come from Baton Rouge.
Right, I do
audit
understand
everything.
that.
They audit everything.
Okay,
Starting, I will say to the clerk today that Councilman Jackson will be giving her a letter that will go to the legislative auditors to come in and audit us.
okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
And that audit meeting was postponed till next Tuesday. So those auditors will be here to go over the audit that has already been published. So that's public knowledge now where you have access to it, but they're gonna actually go through and explain our most recent audit.
So it's open to the public?
Yes, ma'am, it is.
And what time is it?
It's gonna be at 1:30 it'll be right before next council meeting.
And that's the external auditor, though,
Yes.
not the legislative auditor.
That's the external auditor. He's gonna send a letter to Baton Rouge for the legislative auditors to come to honor the citizens' request.
Okay, so what's the difference between an external and the legislative? Who does the external?
Lennox, would you answer that?
Can you speak in the, so I can hear you? Thank you.
The external auditors are an independent CPA firm. For us, they are Carr, Riggs, and Ingram. The legislative auditors are the state auditors, and they work out of Baton Rouge, and they work for the state.
And can you repeat the name of the external auditor again?
Carr, Riggs, and Ingram.
Carr, Riggs, and Ingram. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And Ms. Lennox, can you explain the process when external audits finish with their process, they turn it into the legislative auditors as well? Can you go over that?
Correct. The external auditors kind of work under the legislative auditors, and so they have to submit all of their work to the legislative auditors for review and approval before the final report is issued.
Thank you all for your input.
John Settle.
John Settle for Tealwood. I wanted to address two matters. One, I hope that y'all will confirm Zelda Tucker as the Assistant City Attorney today. This ball has been bounced around a while. Your city attorney gave an excellent explanation of her status working for the mayor, not his office. I think there's been some game playing on this. It needs to end. Yesterday at the Audit and Finance Committee, a press release or documents were released. It's not surprising I didn't get one, but I have gotten the documents. There were insinuations made against two former councilmen yesterday. Both of them are friends or were friends. Jerry Bowman is a friend. I followed him on the council for 8 years, and I thought he did a very good job. James Flory was a real good friend, and I talked to him frequently while he was on the council, and his illness and subsequent resignation was tragic. It's changed the course of history for this council, and I'm not sure if that's good or bad. But the comments made yesterday insinuated that those two gentlemen followed the same course of action as your present councilman, that they wandered into the gray area and gave pay raises without council approval. Thank goodness Aaron McCartney researched that this morning and displayed to the public that that these raises were approved by the council. And so I think the comments made yesterday and the insinuations malign the characters of these two fine gentlemen. And that's sad that elected officials in this body did that. This game playing needs to stop.
I see Councilman Bowman in the audience. Councilman Bowman, would you come up, please? Councilman Bowman, because your name was brought up, I want you to know, man, that whatever you heard anybody said, I would never slander your name. You're a good friend of mine. You were a friend on this council. You were a friend before the council. And I just want you to know that nobody up here attempted to slander your name. And I just wanted you to know that, and I'm thank God that you are here today, that you can hear it from me, that you know that you and I have always had a great relationship. We never had a bump in the road, and we're not going to start now. And I just want to thank you for the work that you did do on this council and the work that's at your heart. And God bless you.
Thank you, sir. It was, I'm not trying to be out of turn, but it was a little, I guess, misunderstanding when some of the phone calls that I got and then listening to some of the statements that were made, it did seem as though it was a hit. And that's to me and to Fleury. And, you know, I think Ms. Fleury kind of felt some kind of way also, but, you know, that's just how, you know, if your understanding and your misunderstandings are two different things, but it just seemed as if it was not, it seemed as if that was the way and that was the target of what was said. So I appreciate that.
Thank you, man. I
Former
appreciate it.
Councilman, let me give my comments as well. I was simply following the documentation that brings to light, you know, how this entire process may have happened from start to finish. Councilman Green mindset, as well as how did it all wake you through the process. You know, so that letter was misleading. You know, it simply implied that you acted alone. Same thing with former Councilman Fleury. That's how the letter implied. So if I'm a HR personnel and this is what I get, then any chair could have made that mistake and went all the way through the process. So I was simply just providing the documentation that was provided to me. But I appreciate you here clearing that matter up for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you. At this time, we have the following executive appointments to consider today. Madam Clerk.
For the Shreveport Municipal Fire and Police Civil Service Board, Arthur G. Thompson.
So moved.
Moved by Councilman Butcher, second by Councilman Talaferro. Are there any questions or comments? If not, push the button.
Motion passes for 7. For Environmental Court, Sarah Giglio.
So moved.
Moved by Councilman Butcher, second by Councilwoman Bowman. Are there any questions or comments? Not push the button. For the Shreveport Airport Authority, Waynette Ballingy. However, on August 21st, 2023, the clerk's office received a letter from the administration withdrawing this appointment, so a motion to withdraw is needed.
So moved.
Moved by Councilman Butcher, second by Councilman Brooks, that this item be removed from the agenda. Are there any questions or comments? If not, push the button.
Motion passes for 7. For the Metropolitan Planning Commission, Windsor R. Andrews.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Talaferro, second by Councilwoman Bowman. Are there any questions or comments? If not, push the button.
Motion passes with 7. For the position of Assistant City Attorney, Zelda Tucker.
Second.
Moved by Councilwoman. Moved by Councilman Bowman, second by Councilman Talaferro. And then
Substitute motion
there's
to
a
postpone.
substitute motion from Councilman Jackson.
And you would need a second to the substitute motion.
Second by Councilwoman Taylor.
Discussion.
Discussion, Councilman Jackson.
There was some information that I requested from the Audit and Finance meeting, and that information was sent to our email. I'm not sure if every council member had the chance to review it, so I just wanted to make sure that we had time to review it. I do have some additional questions regarding what I reviewed, so I'll ask my questions today and hopefully give time for everybody else to research this matter before we make any decisions on Ms. Zelda Tucker. Attorney Edwards, can I have you to the podium, please?
Good afternoon, Councilman Jackson.
Good afternoon. From the Audit and Finance Committee meeting, my question was regarding a possible charter violation. So I'm sure that you had time to research that, so I'm curious to know if it was and how did we get here. Also, my follow-up question, I see that she was hired as a legal assistant, but that was never confirmed. So her title was legal assistant even when she was interim city attorney. And then I believe her title was changed August 1st, if I'm not mistaken, to assistant to the mayor. My follow-up question is, what budget is she being paid out of?
I can't speak to what took place back in January, when she was originally hired, what her title was when she was originally hired, or anything like that. I do not know how she was originally hired, and then she became the interim city attorney. What I can say is that, as you said, on August 1st, she was transferred back from the city attorney's office to the mayor's office during the pendency of this appointment to city attorney. I think it was temporarily postponed or something like that. For instance, today I have not paid payroll to make sure that, after our conversation yesterday, I wanted to make sure that there was no money coming out of the city attorney's office going to Ms. Tucker, so that I wanted to make sure that it's clear that it's going out of the mayor's office for the time being. That said, she was transferred, I should say, from the city attorney's office to the mayor's office after it was brought to my attention that that hadn't taken place yet. I think it was just an oversight because she had been transferred from the mayor's office to the city attorney's office while she was the interim. And so then once I started, it was my responsibility to transfer her back. I hadn't done that until it was brought to my attention by Councilwoman Taylor, and then I took the action that was necessary.
So are you saying there was a charter violation?
I'm saying that a charter violation. I'm saying that she should not have been a legal administrator per the charter, per the ordinance that pertains to the city attorney's office. Legal administrators and paralegals should be confirmed by the council. So that had not taken place. And once it was brought to my attention, I rectified it.
That's all I have for right now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Edwards. So to be clear, is that Ms. Tucker was working as a legal administrator until you learned what the charter said in reference to legal administrators and who had to be confirmed by the council, because we didn't know that Ms. Tucker was still working in the office.
That's correct. That's correct. When it was brought to my attention that she could not work as a legal administrator, that both legal administrators and paralegals needed to be confirmed by the council, that's when I took action. And the council also is aware that there was a title change as well around that same time, because there was another legal administrator in the office as well that was changed to an office manager after that same conversation.
Mr. Mayor, were you all aware that she was working as a legal administrator?
We were not aware of the title.
What title was she given?
The title that she was working under when her title was withdrawn was an assistant to the mayor.
So she had been working ever since July 1st, and that was the title?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And your substitute motion was to do what? All right.
He asked what was the substitute motion. I said to postpone it until all council members had the chance to review these documents.
Madam Clerk, will you go ahead and let them know what we're voting on so everyone will be clear?
Yes, ma'am. So the motion on the floor is a motion to postpone the appointment, and there's a motion and a second for the postponement.
Okay. So this time, on the substitute motion, if you would like to postpone, then you vote yea. If not, you vote nay to postpone this until such time.
Motion fails.
So we will move on the motion before. It was moved by Councilman Bowman and second by
Councilman
Councilman
Talaferro.
Talaferro.
Madam Clerk, can you read what we're voting on now, to be clear?
Yes, ma'am. The motion on the floor is the motion to confirm the appointment of Zelda Tucker to the position of Assistant City Attorney.
Are there any questions or comments? Motion has been made. It has been cleared. If no other questions, press the button. Push the button.
Motion passes 5-2.
Thank you. There are no items on the consent agenda for introductions or adoption. Madam Clerk, would you proceed with regular agenda legislation?
Resolution 166 of 2021, a resolution in support of and establishing a tax increment financing TIF district, a proposed public improvement district wholly within the city limits of the city of Shreveport, and otherwise providing with respect thereto. And a motion is needed to postpone it. It's postponed until September the 26th, 2023. Resolution 107, a resolution ratifying the execution of a cooperative endeavor agreement between Caddo Bossier Parish's Port Commission and the City of Shreveport relative to temporarily housing SFD Station Number 20.
So moved.
Moved by Councilman Butcher, second by Councilwoman Bowman. Are there any questions or comments?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman, I do.
Yes, sir.
Either the administration or Chief Reese here. Hey, Chief, thank you. Couple of questions for you. How long are they gonna be down there?
At the port,
Yeah,
it's gonna depend on, since it is actively investigation, or open investigation, just gonna depend on how the testing goes.
so what's down there now? Y'all moved Battalion 5 to
Station
22, right?
Yes, sir.
Is 20 making any runs down there?
They have been, yes, sir.
A lot or just
It's not a lot, sir.
is there any way to get them a little bit closer into town? Are we looking at other options?
That is something that we're looking at, sir. It would depend, of course, on that time frame that we're talking about. Possibly looking at coming out to Fire District 5, as well as looking at another place that we could set up a temporary station to bring in both Engine 20 and Truck 20.
Good. I just kind of want to go on the record about that. I don't necessarily like that little hole being over there around LSUS too much. And I've had a couple of citizens in the South Baltimore area reach out and want to know how long it's going to be. So at least we got the question answered. I just would like for this to move the administration a little bit faster and get them just a little bit closer to town.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. And I appreciate the port as well and what y'all did to get them down there so quickly. But it's been a few weeks now. I want to try to get them back a little bit closer.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions or comments? If not, push the button.
Motion passes 7.
Resolution 109A, a resolution to launch a city council investigation as authorized by section 4.29 of the City of Shreveport, Louisiana Charter, and to otherwise provide with respect thereto.
Move for adoption.
Moved by Councilman Talaferro,
Second.
second by Councilman Butcher.
Statement.
Statement by Councilman Talaferro.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Many have asked me why I put this back on the agenda after our special meeting, which it was, I'll get this right. After the special meeting, which it was split 2-2, which showed that we definitely had some differences of opinion regarding an investigation or an audit or a review, whatever you want to call it. You know, this was nothing strategic. It was nothing calculative. I knew that a lot of my colleagues just couldn't make that meeting, so I really wanted to introduce it to this meeting here because I think it's very important that we address that item. Integrity first and last. That means that we can't just preach about being transparent, being forthright. We must see it through beyond the mere words, but through our actions. What we do means much more than any one of us can say. This situation is unfortunate and has become worrisome for our city and compromises our legitimacy as a body, leaving many with feeling of distrust in our process. And while we cannot go back and change what has happened, we can still learn. How we respond as representatives to our constituents matters, and it's all we can do at this point. Our citizens need to be reassured that this council and administration are resolved to transparency. One of the main reasons voters disapprove of ballot issues is that they don't trust government to spend their money wisely. Trust is earned, and we all can do better. We must have the courage to say to our citizens that if laws are broken, policies fail, then hold us accountable to resolve those failures. Our goal going forward is to investigate, to evaluate our policies and practices which brought us here to where we are today, with the intention of developing measures to ensure that we do the right thing going forward. Process over people. I'm confident that our city attorney's office can investigate a variety of matters, but as employees of the city, we are principals. Therefore, I believe that allowing the city attorney's office to investigate could present an uncomfortable climate and a conflict of interest, a road better left untraveled. Now, whether you call it an investigation, an inquiry, or a study, or a probe, I believe that an independent investigator removes any doubt or perceptions of any intergovernmental interference, distractions, or persuasions. We are here to make things right, and we'll be a better council for it. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir. Anyone else?
I do, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
Initially, I voted to not have the special investigation, but I've had quite a few constituents express concern that they felt like we were possibly hiding something, or why would we not want an investigation? So this time around, I'm in support of it.
Okay. Anyone else? Yes.
On Wednesday of last week, I was another councilwoman that voted for not to have the investigation, and it passed. When I left here Wednesday, I thought as a council, as a city, we could move forward. It didn't happen. Other talks and discussion, radio interviews led to other things. So today, I will be voting for an investigation as well.
All right. Anyone else?
To our council staff, let me apologize to you all. You all have been the most impeccable staff there is. Some of you have experienced that range of city government since 1984. Ms. Jackie, I know that you have, working for Foster Campbell, going in and working for the casino, for doing all that you have. Tanya, you start off here as an intern for the city of Shreveport, and you have an impeccable record of doing what needs to be done. When you talk about the investigation, bring your investigation, but I won't be voting for it, and I'm gonna tell you why I won't be voting for it. Because the administration can make a mistake and there's no investigation. The council turns around here and make a mistake, and everybody wants to go over here and investigate. You know why? Because it's just as Mr. Settle just said. After Mr. Fleury died, the whole premise of here is different. Who is in charge? These women have not created any criminal acts, nor has the chairman. And maybe I'll be the Lone Ranger in this, but I don't care. I will be that. Systemic racism is real in this city. And because the majority of us are black, here it comes. You can get mad, shake your head, do what you want to do with it, but it is. You don't want to address it, but it is right here. That is what is said. I'm going to say again, if the chairman turned and said that I made a mistake in doing so because these women here have earned their keep. You have 20-plus years of experience sitting right over there. Nobody bats an eye when their raise is given to the administration, but it does when it's the council office. The council office needs to be investigated. The council office needs to be investigated for doing their job. So bring your investigation. Am I upset about it? Yes, I am, because these women and men have been called everything out of their name other than a human being who actually works for the city of Shreveport. That's what they are. They're hard-working women and men that do their job. They do everything that we ask them to do. They didn't ask for the raises. It came right there, and yet and still they're punished and ostracized. Say what you want to say, how you want to say it. But as a woman and a woman of color, I get sick of that. I really, really do. And I get sick of us being called out of our names all the time on the radio, everywhere else, demeaning or trying to demean our value of who we are as an elected official. I work hard for my district. I work extremely hard in doing what I can when I walk into this chamber. And all of the bully attacks and sometimes that they take, they don't deserve it. So I'm letting you know from you, don't you dare walk into this chamber or in the council office and hold your head down. You are neither you, Ralph. You hold your head up because you make us do what we need to do in order for us to effectively do our job for our constituents. You take our phone calls, you make sure that we have what we need. Sometimes y'all don't leave here until 7 and 8 o'clock in the evening time. Go right ahead with the investigation. But I do want you to know that I am sorry that we have to deal with this particular matter. Before you should be all of the amendments or whatever it is that you need to see from the past budget years from 2018 on. Take a look at it and investigate it and talk amongst yourselves.
Thank you. I'd like to say this, that we talk about being transparent. I made a mistake, according to the gray area. We just voted on a person who has worked for the mayor, who has worked for the city attorney's office, who has worked any kind of way that the administration was able to see fit. They directly violated the charter in direct violations. Your title was one thing, it was never approved by the council. Your title was another thing, it was not approved by the council. The city attorney just said it. This particular person, when we came on, all of us was elected, she was supposed to have been the interim city attorney. Then once a matter came up, then she was not the interim city attorney, she was something else. We was paying her $140,000. $140,000. Then after we ceased from that, we started paying her $88,000. 88 for whatever title that the administration wanted to put her under to keep her as an employee of the city. 140, 88,000. The charter by title was clearly violated, clearly. But no problem with that, because that's somebody that we wanted. And so therefore, when it's somebody that we want and when it's something that we want, we change the rule. Nobody from the administration apologized and say, well, we used this position wrong, or this person shouldn't have been doing. They don't have to. They don't have to do that. I have to. And even when I do it, then I still get blasted. I even got some people on Kill Radio, Mr. Mayor. I don't know if you heard it. Some of my cousins told me about it. They said that if I was chair, your bond issue was going to fail. I don't know if you know about that. It's just so much stuff because people in places that you don't want them to be in. I earned the right to be here. I went out and got voted in to be here. But even with me being here, there's just a problem. All of this attention to the council has never been. The only time it came up is that when the numbers change. Y'all, I was back here when Mr. Bo Williams was mayor. I sit on this council in the minority. I didn't get mad. I didn't try to get even. I worked with whoever was on this council. Sometimes they would help me in my district, sometimes they would not. Sometimes they would put stuff in my district that I didn't even want, liquor stores and all of that. We didn't mess this city up. People, when it was 4-3, vice versa, they would say to us, couldn't help you today, but maybe next week we can, or we will. In my district, they put stuff that I didn't even want in there. Stuff that I wanted in there, if they didn't want it in there, then they voted against it. But when the numbers change, the whole city gets all rattled that now we got 4 black folk and we don't know what they gonna do. One, we as black folk, we ain't ever messed nothing up. We've never messed it up. This country is where it is, not because of black folk, not because of us. What you see in this city, it is not because you had a history of 4 blacks who messed this up. That's not how it was. So now that it's 4 and everybody is afraid, what they gonna do? It's like some folk up here hate to come to the meeting now because, one, they feel like they don't have the power. So it's like I said to Councilman Brooks on yesterday, it's like having a cow. You can't do nothing with the cow, so you make the milk unclean. That's what we do. And then not only that, it's not just white racism, there's black racism. There's some black folk, they don't like it that I'm here. The class about punch and play, I didn't take that class in school. I was absent. So I don't know how to punch. I don't know how to laugh when nothing is funny. I don't know how to do that. We talk about the charter was broken. I'm for the charter. Well, all you got to do is step up on the 2nd floor. And there you will see in direct violation of the charter with an employee. 2 weeks ago, my friend Shelley got a $25,000 raise. Y'all ain't hear about it. You ain't gonna hear about it. But it was done. I'm glad she got it. It's a blessing. Y'all don't care about that, but you do care about these ladies over here and RJ in the back. What if they were your sons? What if they was your daughter? What if they was somebody kin to you? How would you feel with what's happening to them? What would you do? If your daughter was in a position, I said to Councilman Brooks on yesterday, he said, man, I don't know what they do. I said, Art Thompson trained them so well that the number that's up there, he had not trained them so well, you would probably need 15 people up there to do their job. They work night and day, they do their job, and people question now, they make too much. My friend, in just a few weeks, the first of the year, maybe before this year out, my friend Tom Dark will be making $225,000. $225,000. How much is enough? A little bit more. Well, that's a part of the city money. Is the part of the city money just on the 4th floor, or is it the entire city? You know, there are people on Kill Radio, they think they want me to come talk to them. They really don't want me on their show. I'll invite them to mine, but they really don't want me to come talk because we don't like real talk. We don't like real talk. It's like people like me, then I'm not a part of the in crowd. So then I get ostracized. If I stand up, then somebody's going to come, well, he stood up, but he didn't do it right. People love what you do, but they just hate as you. I've been up here, and I've operated this council while I've been chair in the most professional manners I can. I've done my best. If the mayor needs something, I'm there for him. Is that true, Mr. Mayor?
That's true, Mr. Chairman.
The mayor leave town, he go out of the city. I say to the mayor, the same way you left this city, when you get back with the help of the Lord, it's going to be the same way. Is that true, Mr. Mayor?
That is true, Mr. Chairman.
You know, so therefore, you know, can't nothing else hurt me. Nothing, zero. Because I know in my heart that I've done my best. But when you go over here, because these are some innocent people, you don't want to give them the money, but you want to pay an investigator to come and make however much money they want. However much that this investigation is going to be cost. Whatever it is, the price tag, so that people will feel good, so that they will trust us again. So that we just want to feel good. We know it's not about you, Councilman Green. Well, let me tell you how it started. All I know is gave the raises. Next thing I know, it's all blown out of proportion. Danny Malone, Attorney Danny Malone, he wrote the press release for it. I talked to him. I'm not talking about what I heard. I'm not talking about what they said. He wrote the press release. I say to him, hey man, you was my friend. At least you could have called me to find out what was going on. He wrote it. He put it out. He put the whole deal out. He wrote the press release. He wrote in there all of the legal stuff. Danny Malone did it. I called his boss, that I thought I was calling his boss, who was Eric Ingram. Well, I asked him if he would ask Danny to stay out of city business. So, in talking to Danny, Danny says to me, hey man, you call Eric. Eric is not my boss. We are the same. We have the same title. So we were voted in by the board. So you called him, but he's not my boss. All I was saying is, man, look, wasn't trying to do nothing wrong, but it happened like that. And here we are. We take money from the people who work for us, and we're going to give anywhere from 50 to 100,000 or more to some people that we don't even know to come and investigate me, investigate them, to say, as Ms. Glover said, who told Councilman Green you had? Nobody told me. I inquired because I felt like these ladies and gentlemen do if it were not for them, we wouldn't even be able to have this meeting. They're the ones who make the wheel work. You would not have a council meeting if it were not for them. We would just be here because they are the ones who put it all together and make it happen. But they are so professional that it seems as though it's not even a drop in the bucket. If we had some other folk up there working, they would be making more money and it would be twice as many. These are the folk who make it happen. But because they are the ones who make it happen, and Tanya, Jackie, Miss Flemings, RJ, Terry, y'all just happen to be of color. Anybody in America know we that are of color, We don't go by the same rules. I've said to Councilwoman Bowman, I said, Councilwoman, I try to do everything right because at the end of the day, I remember that I'm black. When I go home, I remember that I'm black. I would not dare try to do what white folk do sitting in this chair because I got a conscience to know that I'm a black man. I got stopped by the police driving black not long ago because my windows was too dark. They pulled me over while driving black in my community, not even a block from my house. So I know the rules are different. Even with black folk, there are some black folk, they don't like me being in this position because I don't know how to kiss. I just didn't learn it in school. But it's still okay. I'm going to do what I'm supposed to do. I have 3 years and so up here. I promise my constituents, I promise the city of Shreveport that I'm going to do my best every day. I have a God that I got to answer to. And when I die, I wanted to be able to say, it is well. You fought a good fight. You finished the course. I'm going to finish my course and I'm going to finish it well. It doesn't matter about my enemies. It doesn't matter about what you try to do for me, to me. I've lived a great life. I've had a great run. I'm trying to make it better for somebody else. And so with that, I've already put in place for the clerk to work with the city attorney to get everything out of the gray. Whatever is gray, then I work with them as to try to get it out of the gray. Because I don't want the next person or the next person to have to go through what I've gone through. To stand outside of this city hall in the vestibule out there, open my heart and say, look, I'm sorry. I made a mistake, if that's what you want to call it. But then on the second floor, they are in complete, it ain't gray. It ain't gray at all. It is black and white that the charter has been violated. It doesn't matter. It does not matter. As my cousin in Belcher always told me when I was coming to this city, he said, Green, if you black, get back. And so therefore, ladies and gentlemen, those of you who want this investigation, that is cool. I have one sheet of paper that I signed. I have 2 people that I talked to. I talked to Jackie White. Mr. Jerry White, I'm sorry, you got to go through this with your wife, and I know it's painful. But God, it has the last word, I promise you. He has the last word. Tanya, Ms. Flemings, RJ, Terry, I'm sorry that your work is not appreciated. And again, publicly, I will announce, I'm sorry I got y'all in this position. RJ, all I want to do is bless you. That's all. All I want to do is bless y'all. That's all. I'm sorry. Thank you.
I spoke to these young ladies yesterday on the record personally. I'm a black woman, I understand. But let's make something clear. Over 85% of our employees are African American. Every single time it's not about black and white. Sometimes it's about wrong or right.
So everybody know what I'm thinking. I will be voting no, and I'll tell you why. I'm voting no because I believe it's a waste of the taxpayer dollars. The same money that we're going to be spending for an audit or investigation that's going to turn up absolutely nothing is the same money that we could have used to bless these individuals We already know the 13% raise is pretty much has been gone due to inflation. And not only does council staff deserve a raise, but we just recognize our internal audit. They deserve a raise. The entire city employees, all of them deserves another raise. So we're always looking for ways to cut the fat and bless our hardworking employees. That's the bloodline of Shreveport. The more they're making, the more money they have to put back into the economy. If you have a business, how that business is going to survive without employees to be able to bless that business? Every day I get calls in my district, why we can't have this, why we can't have that. All of these things are businesses. If we don't have people with the disposable income to patronize those businesses, then business is going to keep closing. So finding ways to cut the fat, trim, save money, and then in return, get it to our employees to go back into the business is how we move this economy. Finding ways to spend money on an investigation that is not needed because one person signed one paper and it went from council's office to the mayor's administration is not how we save money. That's not how we save money. We get audited every single year. I am the chair of the Audit and Finance. I can tell you already, our financial statement is unmodified, which means that you can trust the information that was provided. The mayor's Arsenal accounting firm did an excellent job in providing that report. There was little to no findings. Yeah, we got some tighten up to be, but there was no malfeasance. There was no stealing. There was none of that. And for us to sit here and imply that sends the wrong message, especially going into a critical year where we need the public's trust. So again, I'm voting no because it's a waste of taxpayers' money. The same money that we're spending could have went to giving those raises. But if you believe that there's fraud, if you believe people are stealing, if you believe that people are doing what they're not supposed to do, then vote yes. And then we'll see what the investigation turns up.
Mr. City Attorney, what do you call? You've read the legislation to 109A. Would you tell the general public how this investigation will go forth and who will, you don't have to have the company or the people, but who is it that will do an investigation and how it will go?
I would appoint someone to.
When you say someone, are you saying the police department, the state police, a lawyer, or who will it be?
It would be an independent attorney or a law firm, specifically in the name of an attorney at that law firm who would be able to lean upon the resources of the firm, but I would be looking to hold one particular attorney accountable for the work that needs to be done. And at that point, once that person was appointed, I would trust their wise counsel to go forward with the investigation, come up with an investigation plan, and report back to this council with their findings.
And so what's the time limit on when you will seek this particular person, a company, a firm?
So some of that depends on the answer that is given by whomever I would ask. But assuming availability as soon as possible, immediately.
Do you have an estimate of how much this will cost?
I do not.
Just a rough ballpark figure?
I do not. To the extent that a lot of or there has been some information that has already been presented. There's been interviews that have already been given. There's information in the public sector that can be reviewed relatively efficiently. I don't anticipate that this would be some budget busting investigation unless there's something that I don't know about that's out there that requires additional investigation. But based upon what I can see, I don't see any reason why it would be a large sum.
And where would the monies come from to fund this investigation?
It would come from, I'm not sure. I don't know the answer to that question.
I didn't get the last, what was the last question?
Where would the monies come from to fund this investigation?
And I said, I don't know the answer to that question off the top of my head, but I can look into it and get back to you as soon as
Hold it
possible.
just a minute. Mr. Dark, do you have any idea where that money will come from?
I would assume it would come out of general government professional services within the general fund. That's where stuff like this would come from.
Okay, so will you, hopefully by the next council meeting, see if y'all could do the research as to how much we will have to pay for this and have the legislation?
Right. Hold on, yeah.
Have the,
Excuse me, don't we have a special fund for external investigations? Yeah, I think we have a fund for internal and external investigations. So that money is already sitting there for these needs.
We'll certainly look for that.
Thank you.
Just so you all know, the charter, section 4.29, when it's referencing council investigations, it says the council shall have the authority to specially appropriate out of the general fund sufficient funds necessary to meet the cost of any investigation hereunder, which funds may be segregated in a special bank account and withdrawn as authorized by the council for such purposes only.
okay, thank you.
So in layman's term, there will be a budget amendment that we will have to approve to appropriate these funds.
Out of the general fund, yes, sir.
Okay.
All right, thank you. Are there any more questions or comments?
I got one more.
Yes.
The young lady that they was talking about, they said about someone violated the charter through, she's African American also. The one that we approved, she was a black woman.
Yes, yes, she is. And Councilman Bowden,
Still violated the charter.
I wouldn't, would you all please, would y'all, I'm trying to be as nice as I can, but would y'all not have any outbreaks? Yes, Zelda Tucker is a black woman, and I just happen to be black as well. I know I look Spanish brown, but,
I am also.
yeah, the question has been called for. All in favor, vote yea. Those opposed, vote nay. Push the button.
Motion passes with 4.
Thank you.
Resolution 110, congratulating the City of Shreveport Internal Audit Office for winning the 2022 Distinguished Knighton Award from the Association of Local Government Auditors Awards Committee.
So moved.
Moved by Councilman Butcher, second by Councilman Telefarrell. Are there any questions or comments? If not, push the button.
Motion passes with 7.
Madam Clerk, would you proceed with introduction of resolutions not to be adopted prior to September 12, 2023?
Resolution 111, authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement between the City of Shreveport and the Red River Revel. And Resolution 112, a resolution ratifying the mayor's signature on a contract with Ceres Environmental Services for storm debris removal in accordance with Section 26-274D of the Code of Ordinances.
So moved for introduction.
Moved by Councilman Butcher, second by Councilman Jackson. Are there any questions or comments? If not, these items have been introduced. Madam Clerk, would you proceed with introduction of ordinance not to be adopted prior to September 12, 2023?
Ordinance 90, closing and abandoning a strip of property adjacent to 1010 Marshall Street and Tucker subdivision in Section 31 T18N-R13W. Ordinance 91, zoning case number 23-125C, an ordinance to amend the official zoning map of the City of Shreveport Unified Development Code by rezoning property located at the north side of Hillary Huckabee 3rd Avenue, approximately 1,375 feet north of David Rains Road, Shreveport, Caddo Parish, Louisiana, from C2 Corridor Commercial Zoning District to C3 General Commercial Zoning District. Ordinance 92, zoning case number 23-126C, an ordinance to amend the official zoning map of the City of Shreveport Unified Development Code by rezoning property located at the north side of Belmead Street, approximately 140 feet west of Uri Drive, Shreveport, Caddo Parish, from R-1-7 Single Family Residential Zoning District to C-UC Urban Corridor Zoning District.
Is there a motion? Moved by the chair, second by Councilman Butcher. These items have been introduced. Madam Clerk, will you proceed with ordinance on second reading and final passage?
Ordinance 74, authorizing an encroachment into the city's public right-of-way located at 813 King Place as more fully described herein, and to authorize the mayor or his designee to execute an encroachment permit with JDRO Properties LLC, and the administration has requested that the vote on this ordinance be postponed.
So moved to postpone.
Moved by Councilman Butcher, second by Councilman Teleferro. This item be postponed. Are there any questions or comments? If not, push the button.
Motion passes with 7.
Ordinance 83, amending the 2023 budget for the general fund relative to funding the police department.
We'd ask you to postpone that one, please.
And the administration is requesting that the vote on this ordinance be postponed.
So moved to postpone.
Moved by Councilman Butcher, second by Councilwoman Bowman. Are there any questions or comments? If not, push the button.
Motion passes with 7.
Ordinance 84, adopting the 2023 budget for the Public Safety Special Revenue Fund and appropriating the funds therein.
Moved by Councilwoman Taylor.
Second.
Second by Councilman Butcher. Are there any questions or comments? If not, push the button.
Motion passes with 7.
Ordinance 85, amending the 2023 budget for the Street Special Revenue Fund.
So moved.
Moved by Councilwoman Taylor. Second by Councilman Teleferro. Are there any questions or comments? If not, would you push the button?
Ordinance 86, amending the City of Shreveport, Louisiana 2023 Capital Projects Fund budget and appropriating the funds authorized herein.
Moved by Councilwoman Taylor, second by Councilwoman Bowman. Are there any questions or comments? Not push the button.
Motion passes with 7.
Ordinance 87, amending the 2023 budget for the Community Development Special Revenue Fund.
So moved.
Moved by Councilwoman Taylor, second by Councilwoman Bowman. Are there any questions or comments? If not, push the button.
Motion passes with 7.
Ordinance 88, to add a new section 38.5-10.5 of Chapter 38, Article 4 of the City of Shreveport Code of Ordinances relative to procedure for enforcement of liens and additional requirements.
Moved by Councilwoman Taylor, second by Councilwoman Bowman. Are there any questions or comments? If not, push the button.
Motion passes with 7.
Ordinance 89, zoning case number 22-236C, an ordinance to amend the official zoning map of the City of Shreveport Unified Development Code by rezoning property located at the north side of Merrick Street, approximately 130 feet west of Roosevelt Avenue, Shreveport, Caddo Parish, from R-1-5 Single Family Residential Zoning District to C-2 Corridor Commercial Zoning District. And the MPC did vote to not make this change, so a 2/3 vote of council is needed in order to overturn the MPC's decision.
Yes, sir. Can I get a motion?
Motion. I'll make them, go ahead.
Yeah.
District.
Motion, you making a motion so we can get it on the floor?
Yeah, I'm in a motion that we deny this.
Yeah, but we gotta get it on the floor first.
Yes, I move.
Councilman,
Second.
Brooks, motion by Councilman Brooks, second by Councilman Butcher.
Discussion.
Mr. Brooks, the mic is yours.
Discussion.
Yeah.
Oh, you had some? I was gonna ask, NPC to come up. Mr. Clark.
Mr. Brooks, I'd just like to know what's going on here.
Well, I've gotten quite a few calls from the neighborhood association. They're against this rezoning, and I never have heard from the owner.
What would it
The man that's
do?
proposing this, so
What would the zoning do, though?
I think he wants to build an office building in a residential area, and the Stoner Hill, most of the residents are against it. Mr. Clark might can clarify exactly what it is that he wants to do.
You're absolutely correct, Councilman Brooks. This gentleman wanted to rezone residential property to commercial with intentions of building an office on the property. The citizens of the Stoner Hill neighborhood asked the MPC to protect their community, to allow them to reinvest in their community, to allow them to reestablish their community and not let the intrusion of commercial development come into that neighborhood. The most interesting thing about it, there are pro-business persons on the MPC board, but they emphatically said that if a neighborhood is trying to find a way to reestablish itself, that we should never go against that.
Good answer.
I agree.
Mr. Clark, in your expert opinion, would this business hurt the neighborhood more than help? I understand what the citizens are saying, but from an economical standpoint, do you think it will hurt the neighborhood more than help?
I don't think it would help the neighborhood. I think that you have all residential property and you place, and you don't do that in other places in the city, but you place a commercial use right in the middle of a residential zoning district.
So what, thank you, Mr. Clark.
And Chairman Green, may I just say one thing to you?
Yes, sir.
This was the day for the master plan reported, and that's my moment in the sun. And you denied me of that today. I just wanted you to know that.
Mr. Clark, I apologize. Would you be ready the next meeting?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Clark. I'm sorry, Mr. Clark. How can I make it? Will you, if you come to the church and play the organ, I'll let you come play it. Councilman Brooks, what's your pleasure on this item?
I'm sorry?
What's your pleasure on this item?
I vote to deny
Okay.
the rezoning.
How do we need to vote?
So the motion on the floor is a motion to adopt and then the second. So if you agree with the MPC and you don't want to approve the change, then you need to vote no. Otherwise, you vote yes, and then the change will happen if there's 2/3 vote.
Okay.
So we need to vote no.
Correct.
Right.
Well, I'm not telling you how to vote.
I'm just saying,
If we don't want it rezoned, we vote no.
Correct.
Got it.
Okay. All right. Are there any other questions or
I
comments?
voted no because you told me to, right?
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Motion passes with a failed vote.
All right, thank you. Madam Clerk, is there any table legislation to be removed from the table today?
No, sir.
It failed.
We have no property standards ABO appeals to consider today. We have no MPC or ZBA appeals to consider today. Madam Clerk, are there any other appeals?
No, sir.
Are there any reports from officers, boards, or committees? Madam Clerk, is there a clerk's report?
The following letters of appointment were received from the mayor's office on August 17, 2023, and are subject for confirmation on September the 12th, 2023. Hearing officer for the electronic speeding ticketing program, Manushka Gracia Degage. Did I pronounce it right? Great. And for the Shreveport Implementation and Development Authority, Jim Marsh, Cal McInnes, Audrius Reed, Kelly Nelson, Ricky Hall, Parker Brown is a reappointment, and Bruce Roberts.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, do you have any more additional communications?
I do not, Mr. Chairman.
Does any council member have any additional communications?
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
I would like by the next meeting for us to kind of get an update on where we are with the audio and visual in the chamber, where people can tell what we're voting on and who voted for what. And I think it's hard for people to hear out in the audience. So I'd kind of like for IT, or you can send it in an email even, but I'd like to see what the time frame is to get this resolved. And I know the parish is involved at a certain extent, but we need to get it fixed.
Yes, sir. Well, you know, Councilman Bucci, for some time I've been offering to bring my church system up here on second and fourth Tuesday.
With the organ too?
Yeah, with the organ too. Does any council member have any additional communications? Executive session, none.
But Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry. There was an executive session yesterday, and so a motion to adopt the recommendations of the city attorney's office as set forth in that executive session needs to be made.
So move. Moved by the chair, second by Councilwoman Bowman. Are there any questions or comments? If not, push the button.
Motion passes for 7.
Thank you. I know we've had a long meeting today, but if those of you are familiar with the old Morrison, if y'all meet me over there at 6:30, I'll buy you lunch. If nothing else to come before this meeting, it's stand adjourned.